G'day folks, Ziggy D here, and welcome to an early look at an upcoming Survivorlike game that is my most anticipated and hyped in the genre. I played the demo of this back in Next Fest and made a video of that. You may have caught it. The devs did and sent me an early key for the game because it's not releasing for a few more days yet, and yet I do have access to the early access version that will be launching in those few days. So I've been having an absolute blast with it over the last 2 days. It is phenomenal and is exceeding my expectations, and I already had very high expectations for it. It is a Survivorlike, a garlic-like game, a bullet heaven, whatever you want to call it. It's Vampire Survivors with very, very strong Hades inspiration, both in the gods and how they give you abilities and upgrades, but also in the actual action combat too, which is a bit more involved than this genre typically has. Overall as well, just the production quality of this game is phenomenal. The aesthetics, the animations, the sound, voice acting, the overall quality level and how much content it will be releasing even early into early access is pretty impressive. So as you can see, there's already 5 characters. We've got like a paladin here, the Barbarian, who will do a run on today. Merus the Mage, who have a fantastic run I can upload later if you want to see some more. Nixie the Assassin, who does a little double poke. And then a very fast running Skadi the Warrior there, who's kind of like a Celtic Highlander warrior. Interestingly, this game shies away from giving you a lot of ranged heroes. The only actual ranged hero is Merus, but all of them can build range with different abilities that they share access to. So while there's no archer or axe throw or something like that, that's something that they could potentially add in the future, I think, that people would like. But right now, I think they want to keep things really close and personal and crunchy. And the only one that is ranged is Merus, but she's extremely squishy as a result to help balance that out. You'll see each character also has a bunch of perks they can unlock. So for Kront, at the moment, I'm going to be running this increased attack area every 3 levels, scaling up to 100% maximum. So you unlock those by doing various challenges. The main meta progression in this game is gear, and the gear is phenomenal in it. I really like it. It is procedurally generated, apart from preset unique items. Like, for example, my generic socks here. On Skadi, the fast running lady I showed you earlier, I have a move speed helmet, which is unusual, for example. I've got a hat here with very low armor but gives a ton of damage on the assassin, for example. And here's an example of a non-unique that's very powerful on my assassin. I got a mythic relic here that gives a chance on hit to heal life gain on hit, and healing is pretty restricted in this game, so that is exceedingly powerful, especially because she does a little double stab with her daggers. So the gearing is impactful and fun, and I enjoy finding gear like this much more than I enjoy spending gold on a menu to just gain some static bonuses. This form of progression is much more interesting. You'll find gear that you can equip in the run and it stays with you from then on permanently. And you can even find gear for your other heroes and decide who any piece of gear you find is worth for. Like, they can't all wear the same things. For example, like only some of them can wear heavy armor and only some can wear light and so on. They each have a different weapon they use. But some of the items are shared, and you might want to say, hey, okay, I'm building Merus for spell damage, for example, so I funnel off my really good spell gear, like this amulet, for example, to her. Whereas maybe Averon, I'm building much more attack focused, and maybe Nixie the Assassin, I'm building a bit more proc oriented, like a chance on hit effects. The shop also sells some good items as well. Like, I just reserved a very nice looking chest armor here that would be good to buy at some point, but I can't yet afford it. So gold is actually pretty meaningful here, and it's worth checking the shop. In fact, there's a pretty nice amulet there, but I think I already have a better one. And you can stash things as well. But let's jump straight into a run here so you can have a look at what you got going on. My gear on Kront, the Barbarian, is not overly good. It's just fine. It's a little bit of an eclectic mix. He doesn't have an extremely solid build going here, but we have a few things like reroll and banish dice that allow us to better choose our skills, as well as just a fair amount of life and armor. You can see the green numbers are the things I'm increasing. So I have a pretty good damage axe, which is very nice. We have a little bit of a weird mix of like spell stuff, so that's actually okay on him because there's like a chain spinny ability that's really good for him. But we got a fair amount of armor, which is good for damage reduction, a little bit of extra move speed and luck and things like that. I've got him kind of set up good for like maybe spell procs in an attack-oriented build. So that's kind of the way we can think about building, especially if we gain access to the God Conquest. You'll see his attack, and all of their attacks are different, is a spinny attack. It's quite slow, but it has a decent AoE around him, and it really encourages you to be quite aggressive. Now, a key thing you'll see in this game is that enemies don't just walk towards you and deal damage if they bump into you, they actually queue up attacks, even the basic skeletons. And that makes this game a lot more like skill timing oriented.
All right.
You'll see each of the gods has different personalities and things that they offer you, and they have a bit of a story to tell and why they want you to help them kill death. And each of them, yeah, has like a certain category of skills, whether it's just fire, ice, or lightning, for example, or the fates, which are a bit more like passive, unusual bonuses to help you kind of tip the odds in your favor. So they have things like crit, dashes, attack faster. It's actually unusual to run into them first because they don't really offer any actual skills, but rather they're all about passive effects. But still, attack speed is very good, as is crit and dash. These are all quite good. I wouldn't even consider banishing any of them. So we'll probably go the attack speed though, because his attacks, again, pretty slow, but that attack speed boost makes him a lot more survivable. You'll notice we have a dash, which is crucial, and we have 2 charges on that by default. You can upgrade your dash ability, which is potentially quite helpful, and the dash is super crucial for fighting certain enemies, because there's like elites that do very dangerous attacks. But if you aggressively like dash to the other side of them, you can hit them from behind and things like that and keep the damage up. The kind of like meta that I engage in for playing this game is to aggressively push for shrines or these sorts of things like graves and stuff that you can dig up. There was nothing in that one. And various different shrines that gives buffs, some of them minor that you can see come up on this screen here. Spell duration you can access with tab. So I picked up a shrine that gave me a bit of spell duration earlier. But some of them are also quite major buffs as well, like there's some pretty big ones. So pushing aggressively for shrines while getting as much XP on the way as I can is good. Not all of the voice acting is done yet, but I'd say about like 80-90% of the lines are voice acted. In some cases, they just do a Banjo-Kazooie style or a little laugh or a little entry kind of thing. So this is Crom, the god of conquest. He's all about war, as you would expect. Physical damage, bleeds, things like that. In fact, he's offering us probably one of my favorite skills for this character, Chains of War, right off the bat here, which is perfect. Your attack hits have a chance to create a chain that rotates around you for a limited time, damaging, rupturing, which is a bleeding effect, and knocking back enemies. So you can see the rupture there. Affected takes 30 damage for every 1 range they move, and 300 damage for every 1 range of knockback. So if you jostle them around a bit as well, they can take a lot of extra damage there, but it's just quite good in general. They're basically always moving after you, so Rupture works quite well. So we're definitely going to take that. So that's a really fantastic skill here. And that's what it looks like there, a spinning chain blade that circles around me, inflicting bleeds and damaging enemies, and knocking them back a little bit too, which is really helpful. So we will only proc that 10% of the time, but you can see it's quite good, and you can potentially keep it going and even stack multiple of them at the same time if you proc them quickly enough. And upgrading it can increase the duration, for example, as well as area and damage, and that can be quite useful for maintaining multiple stacks of it potentially. So here's a default attack replacer. This is a pretty basic one. It just adds damage, a bit of area to his attacks, which is quite good for him, and a bit of knockback, which will cause us to do more bleed damage. So that's a good option, but we could also wait for one of the other gods to give us an offer. So we could take like a fire one that sets enemies on fire, a chilling one that can chill and freeze them, and various other different options depending on the gods. Like the lightning one has like a chance to attack twice, for example, with a mirage version of yourself. Very good for procs, as you can imagine. We've also got a dash replacer, so every god, apart from the Fates, I believe, has a dash replacer as well. So this one has like blades that knock back enemies, which can be good and bad. It can be good for the rupture, but it can also knock enemies back that are about to attack you, so they stay with you if you angle it wrong. I like to jump to the other sides of enemies, so I'm not a big fan of charge. So I could banish that, but if I take another god's charge anyway, that'll just banish it, because you can only ever have one charge replacer, one dash replacer. I'm tempted maybe to just take the upgrade for Chains of War. It doesn't increase the proc rate, but it does increase the duration, which means we'll be more likely to have it active at any one point. So I think I'll go ahead and do that. And there's 2 of them going there as well, you can see briefly, because whenever you take a skill, it activates it immediately, which is just a fun little mechanic. So I picked up a shrine there. It took me a while to figure out what these did, but then I realized I could press tab and just read. And that one gave us a little bit of attack damage. So skills are split into 3 categories. Attacks, which is your left click exclusively. spells, which is basically anything else, and then summons, which are pretty clear what's a summon and what's not. They're all tagged as summons as well, so you can get summon damage too for things. There's several other categories of skills as well, things like defensive, and like I said, your dash replaces and things like that too. So we're coming up pretty soon on our first kind of like challenge wave, which is you get boxed in and attacked by a whole bunch of slimes, and it's a pretty tough one actually you want to be ready for. But I'm feeling pretty good about our base damage, and also about our chain is pretty good for that. We've got a little elite to take care of first. You'll notice he has a blue health bar. Under that blue health bar, he can't be stunned and is immune to a few other CC effects as well. The key to these guys seems to be to attack and jump behind them. But once you get him into the red, you can just stun lock him, and he won't be able to attack you.
Sorry, Dad.
So this is Mort, the daughter of death, who's also decided to help us for her reasons. So she gives a lot of different curse-oriented effects, as well as a few other death-flavored things. She's also got a passive here that I don't see too often. Lucky It just gives us extra proc chance. So that's a 6% increase on our 10% chance for proccing the spinny blades. So if we went a lot of procs, something like that could be worth taking. Alternatively, she's got sickles, which deal attack damage. I believe this probably counts as a spell. It's a bit unclear. It scales of your attack damage, though, but it's my understanding that everything that's not a left click is actually a spell, but I could be wrong about the sickles and Mort. There's a few instances here and there. I don't have many complaints about this game, but this is a minor one, where things could be tagged or explained a little bit more clearly. Like, for example, when a skill says that it reduces your area, does it reduce your area globally or just for that skill? It's a bit unclear. Things like that. I'll talk about my other minor gripes soon, but there's not too many really. I guess one of them is that you don't have access to rerolls right off the bat, which means that you can do several runs in a row that end up feeling samey. Despite there being a lot of build variety in this game, you have to get gear to give you rerolls and alterations and banishments. And those are what give you your diversity, because you can roll for a different god to try a different build, for example. But you might like see death 3 times in a row just on pure RNG, right? And if you don't have rerolls on your characters, then you can't stop that from happening, or you can't play around with that. So I think that the game could probably give another way to get alterations and rerolls. Alterations, by the way, allow you to change to another god, whereas rerolls reroll the skills within that god. So if I reroll here, I'll see different death offerings from Mort. It's kind of a minor thing, but I think it would be a good idea for them to give out a few that you can maybe unlock through another means, or through character challenges, or maybe that could be a menu thing you can just spend gold on. I don't know, maybe you can upgrade something back at base, or just everyone has at least one alteration as a starting point. Could be nice just to increase the feeling of build diversity, and again, that actually does have quite a bit of build diversity. So what are we going to take here? I'm not sure. Sickles and Mort's a decent choice. We do have a fair amount of attack damage for this to scale off. So I might do this. Now, you'll see this doesn't scale off a proc like hit. This is a different style of one. I actually really like the way they've done skills and procs in this game. This one actually just activates every time you attack 6 times. So you attack faster, you activate this faster, whereas other skills attack when you hit things instead. There are even skills in this game that trigger when an opponent wants to attack you. How cool is that? I love those skills. That's so good. It's not based on you being hit, but rather an opponent trying to attack you. And there's things like shoot them with a fireball or stun them if they try to attack you. It's so good. I love it. We'll take the sickles. They're pretty good AoE. As you can see, they kind of spin out in a circle around us. And they just eat a fireball from the little mini elite here. These little cowardly skeletons are hilarious. When you start attacking them, they start like begging and stuff. They otherwise complain and berate you.
Fates, dear. They are far more perceptive than they let on.
There's lots of waifus and husbandos in this game. In particular, Lightning, the like K-pop husbando, is very dashing. In more ways than one as a lightning boy. So we could get chill as some crowd control here. I don't mind that. 3 chill stacks per attack. It also does scale area. The ice version of dive of your dash skill is quite good too. And this is a spell that basically puts cold patches on the ground around you. Think Santa Water from Vampire Survivors. It's quite good. But I think Chilling Strike's going to be really nice here. I've found that my most successful runs have balanced offense with defense. Had some way of avoiding damage or negating enemies or something like that. And chilling and freezing them is good. So chill, if it stacks to 7, freezes an enemy, which is very strong. So now we have an icy spin, as you can see. We're just one-shotting the skeletons, so you won't see anything on them. An interesting thing to note is that the Sickles of Mort that we unlocked, they actually apply your on-hit effects. I don't think they can trigger other skills, but you'll notice they're actually chilling the enemies there. I think if you take the fire one, they'll apply burn, which would actually be quite strong. But that just spreading a few extra chills around is quite nice. These shieldy things here have that blue health bar that prevents stuns and crowd control. And I love the sound effects when you hit them, of it going tink, 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 and then clunk when it breaks. Big bad death you kill. I transfer knowledge on how fight. You won't learn? The troll says. We can gain armor, evasion, or ignore him. I don't know why you would want to ignore some of these, but I guess they give you the option in case, like, for some reason it would be bad for your build. I don't know. But we'll take armor for sure. Get some more mitigation. That brings us to 37 mitigation. You can see our 20 armor up in there. So let's try and take care of as many of these shield charging things as possible because we don't want them around during the next phase. Of course, I am leaving some XP behind, but there are some shrines that give you magnets. You won't always find them, but they're decently common. What's this shrine? An Empower shrine? I maybe picked that up a little bit too early. I should read before I activate them because I could have used that for the next phase. But we got an Empower and a Stamina shrine. The Stamina shrines, you'll notice when you attack, you slow down, which I think is a very good design decision. This shrine, though, however, gets rid of that, so I can attack and move at full speed, just sliding around. It's quite funny. It's wee spin. Crump go spin to win. Oh, I love Crump. It's so good. So we could take some sickles. We could increase their damage by leveling them up. Soul Stealers is an interesting chance on hit. 19% chance on hit to shoot some projectiles that are technically a summon that deal like a crushing blow current life damage, and then apply Curse, which deals 66 damage after 1.6 second delay. They're honestly pretty good, but we don't have... What do we have in terms of procs? We just have Chains of War, so Serendipity would only be scaling them. If we got Soul Stealers, that would make this a bit better. Of course, Sickles of Mort's not a bad choice, but I think I want to try and like maybe show you a few more skills if I can, instead of just upgrading one. I don't think I'll use the reroll. Do I want to banish these? We might actually end up taking that if we take a few more proc skills. And if I take this, that actually means we have 2. So I'll take Soul Stealers. It's actually quite good. Usually it ends up like topping my DPS chart quite often. Just because it is like a piercing projectile that does quite a fair amount of damage in the end. You can see the sickles doing work on the slimes here. So this is the slime phase, but we are pretty well equipped for them. If you can be doing enough damage to one-shot them, it's a lot easier, so you don't get overwhelmed. Or if you have just like very good AoE. Or pretty good maneuverability can also work too. So there's a few ways of approaching this phase, but if your character is struggling a bit, you can potentially get overwhelmed here.
His heart is colder than mine, and I'm winter itself.
You gain damage for each immobilized enemy, so each currently frozen enemy gives you attack damage. We're not freezing a ton of stuff right now because we just don't have that much application. Upgrading Chilling Strike will give us a bit more damage scaling in area. Area is quite good. This Icebound immobilized enemies take more damage from all sources is very good though. You can freeze elites and bosses pretty reliably, and this gives us a big old bunch of damage when we manage to do that. We probably do want like another source of freezing for that, but for now I'm pretty happy to take Icebound, I think. Even if it doesn't come into play right away. Did take a bit of damage from the slimes there. My chain is up though, and that does absolute work on them. There we go. The slimes have perished. We have dealt with the goobits. Excellent. Let's go and get some more shrines. Got to break the vases for gold, of course. We got a summoner elite here. Let me grab this shrine and then we'll deal with them. We want to get on them as quickly as we can. That's spell duration, which is good for our spinny blade. These things mostly tend to run away, but I have froze them there. Oh, I got hit by the projectile. You can actually attack the projectiles, which is why I wasn't dodging. I was trying to hit it there. But our current attacks are a little slow for that. Makes it a bit hard.
I haven't come here in ages. Can't say the place has really changed.
When you kill an enemy that is frozen, there's a high chance that it drops an item. Magic find. Trail of Frost could be a way of us getting better chills so that we can get that freeze happening. It's pretty good when bosses and elites are chasing you. I think I'll take that. We're up pretty close with enemies, so leaving this little icy thing is... You'll watch it freeze anything that gets behind me. And it lasts a decent amount. We got a little bit of duration for it even. I'm gonna try and keep pushing for the shrines. While cleaving our way through these skeletons and hopefully getting a decent amount of XP here. There are some pretty cool items in this game. Ones that scale XP and ones that give you passive XP over time, for example. I really quite like. We just picked up some hasted footwear. Not particularly good. We'll just go sell those. There's an Empower Shrine, but I don't have a lot of enemies around right now because I'm zooming too fast. That's just a little bit of healing scaling, so we heal a bit more whenever we heal. You'll notice I don't have any passive healing, and healing is fairly restricted in this game. Things like wells, campfires heal you. There's like giant radiant wells that can full heal you. But there are a few things you can get like gear-wise that are kind of rare that can give you a bit of healing. And there are occasional like heart drops, which you can actually scale. Most of the things in this game I find you can interact with in some way or other, which is quite cool.
Time for killing.
I shall make weapons from your bones. Love Grom. Okay. So Blades is a skill that summons like a spinning shuriken giant saw blade that tries to chase you around. It's quite cool. It does a lot of rupturing. Very good damage in a spellcast oriented setup. We do have a bit of scaling for that. But I think we might be better off focusing on Chains of War or even getting shurikens. Ooh, I haven't tried shurikens on Kronk. This could be good. Shurikens is the only skill I found that is 100% trigger. Like whenever you hit something, it fires 2 projectiles guaranteed. It kind of needs 2 levels or a high quality version of the skill, which you haven't even seen yet. You'll see that soon probably. To be really good, because that gives it extra projectiles and piercing, most importantly. We hit so many enemies with our circle slash. What I'm going to do actually is I'm going to banish blades, because I won't take that on this character. It's a good skill, but we won't take it here. I don't think it's super good for our build. But I will take the shurikens though. I want to try that on front. So whenever we hit something, it'll fire out 2 shurikens that will apply rupture to enemies. Doesn't do any direct damage, but it spreads rupture like crazy. There's a bit you can do to scale off rupture too. Like, I think gaining damage per ruptured enemy, for example. How good is freeze, right? Like freezing those guys so that I can break through their blue health, their stun resistant health, so that I can then stun lock them if they come back up. Oh, I got an immunity shrine right as the bosses spawn. So this game's actually pretty hard, right? I have failed to these bosses so many times. Okay, my immunity shrine's gone though. They are really hard. Honestly, this game is really hard. It took me 2 days to beat it. To like have a winning run. But we have some freeze, and we have okay damage. Not like super good single target damage. But I think we can manage here. We've got decent mobility too. I think we'll be alright. We're just gotta watch those dashes. They do a lot of damage. So this kind of brings me to my only other real complaint about this game is currently there is no protection from accidentally double dashing. Most games have like a very short cooldown where you can't use a skill again. Like I'm talking like 0.01 seconds, right? Like just a tiny little delay. Whatever they've got here, if they have it, is like too small, and I double dash accidentally all the time. And in boss fights, that gets you killed, because when you got to dash one charge and then another charge immediately after, if you accidentally burn both your charges, you die, right? Especially on Maris, when she gets almost one shot by these bosses. So that's my only other minor complaint. If they just added like a slight delay before you can activate that again, just so that I don't accidentally press it all the time. It's not me double tapping the spacebar, it's me like holding the spacebar for a fraction of a second too long, activates the double dash. So hopefully they fix that by launch, and then it won't even be an issue for you. But yeah, I've gotten better at it, like tapping the spacebar as fast as I can to not double dash. But I think they could just fix that. So Soul Stealer's upgrade gives them more crushing blow effect and more phantoms, so pretty good damage. We've also got this thing, whenever you kill an enemy, there's a chance it spawns a weak experience shard, and cursed enemies give more experience. So this is like another alternate and interesting way of getting experience. There's another skill on Time, the god, that gives you XP shards whenever you hit enemies. There's actually so many more gods you haven't seen, because you won't see all the gods in any one run, I find. Maybe if you had alterations, you might. But there's Time, there's Justice, there's Summer. We've seen Winter, we haven't seen Thunder, the lightning guy. Death, Conquest, the Fates. I think there's about 8. Serendipity could be pretty good now for our procs. The Soul Stealer upgrade is also fine. I don't know that I'll take Execution. There is another skill if we get, it's very good with a skill from Time that gives you attack speed per shard that you pick up, per crystal you pick up. But I don't know that we're going to see them. I might take Serendipity. We'll get that lucky scaling. Oof. Okay, thankfully we are quite tanky, so we can take actually a couple charges without dying. Not like some of the other characters. We have a decent amount of armor here, and even a pretty high health pool. I don't have any healing though, so... Get the chest, which gives us a level up. So the second level of shurikens is quite essential. As you see, it adds a pierce chance, which makes them infinitely better. Because I got an item there too. Oh man, they got me without charge. Pretty dirty. Pretty dirty. If you take too long to fight a boss as well, it like moves on to the next wave and you continue fighting them as you're like fighting the other things. So that kind of like happened here. So like we've got more other enemies spawning and stuff now. There we go. Nice. I do like that killing the 2 bosses there gives you 2 level ups. Pretty cool. So we've seen it for the first time actually. So skills actually have qualities. You've been seeing Novice this whole time. You can also get Adept, Expert, Master, and Legendary. And Legendary has unique skills in it. There are gear and buffs you can get. Gear that you can get always, and then buffs during the course of a run to upgrade your chances of seeing higher quality versions of skills. They're generally more efficient, but sometimes that means all the difference in the world. So in this case, this one just makes it 6% crit instead of 5%. I think I've seen like Expert or something that, or Legendary, that gives like 10% per level. So once you lock in the quality, it'll keep being that. But if you take a lower quality, you can later get a chance to upgrade it, which is usually not a very efficient use at that point, but then makes that skill better from that point onwards. So I am very tempted by Might. Attacks hit 14% wider area. I think this is usually like 10 or 8 or something. So maybe 7. So that's quite strong. I'll definitely lock that in at Adept for sure. AoE is very good on our spinny attack. It'll mean more procs, it'll mean easier time hitting projectiles, it'll mean we can hit enemies without having to get quite so close to them. Very good all round. You can see we can't hit those fireballs there. Just with his slightly slower attacks, it's a little bit harder. Find it a fair bit easier on one of the faster attackers. Once you scale his attack speed especially, you can become almost immune to projectiles if you just keep chopping. You like chop the projectiles, but I really like this feature that you can like attack the projectiles. It's kind of like a skill shot feature, and you can even like trigger off them. It's like whenever I hit their fireballs, I shoot shurikens out, which can then kill them, which is quite cool. This little guy's trying to get away from me. These cowardly blue skelly archers. Ouch, ow, okay, chill. No, you chill out. Channeling some Arnie Schwarzenegger from the Arnie from the old Batman movies. Chill out. Yeah, get some more shrines here. A bit of a ghost phase here. We get rushed by all these ghosts. So more shurikens will just give us a little bit more and a bit more range. Not as important. We can now get attack speed per eruption enemy though. That's very nice. I do want to get as many Chains of War upgrades as I can. But this gives us more Chains of War, right? We attack faster. We are rupturing quite a few enemies now between our shurikens and our spinny blades. Ooh, man, we are getting very low health. I gotta find some healing shrines ASAP. These ghosts are a little scary. Gotta really like wrangle them. Oh, you know what's even scarier? These ghost ladies here. These ladies are very scary. They're super fast, and they do quite a lot of damage with their stab attack. Okay, we've got the elite onto the stun bar, so we can take her out now. Nice. Let's just deal with the rest of these ghosts here. I'll grab that chest. Whew. I haven't got a dash upgrade yet. That could be worth getting. That just upgrades the frost trail duration, which is good, because we can potentially cover a lot of the screen with that, with enough duration scaling. Area again is really good, so that's potentially worth getting, but I think I want to get the dive. It's that or like the knockback. What else have we gained access to so far? We might see another god later, but I think I'd rather take this now. You'll see this shoots a bunch of icicles whenever I dash. Nice. Just a bit more freeze, and we gain extra damage against frozen enemies too, don't forget. That's very good, and that freeze locking, as you can see, is doing absolute work. Ooh, he kind of snuck that attack out there though, as he thought out. I have noticed that these enemies seem to queue up their attack ready to go for when they are unfrozen. So they'll like queue it up, and then when they unfreeze, they trigger the attack. Which feels a little bit mean. I'm having a suck. Okay. Well, jump. Jumpity. Let's just let him do his thing while I go get this well. Ah, some healing. I'm not quite on death's door anymore. Still not in a great position for like the next major challenge wave. I could do with a bit more healing by then. It's a shame we haven't gotten Justice or something. I really like the defensive abilities on Justice on this character. Ooh, the Ghost. So this is an example of the in-run upgrade. So if we get this, we'll see more blue versions of skills. Sure. I'm pretty sure that doesn't take away from getting higher quality versions. It just takes away from getting lower quality versions. I want to try and deal with these summoners if I can. Their slash attack is a little tricky, though it's a pretty large area in front of them. If I can just kind of take them out with shurikens and stuff, that would be ideal. Don't want to be swarmed by too many nasty summoners and elites and things here. Because I think we're about to get... I think there's a blue slime phase next. That's a bit scary. There's a lot of XP back there I'm missing, though. Kind of tempting to try and get it. Oh, a bit risky, though. Chop the fireballs furiously. Ooh, Master. Oh, no. This one's really good to get early on, especially at a higher quality level like that. So this gives a stacking damage buff based on enemies dying from cursed. So it's a very small amount, but it stacks pretty quickly, especially at a higher quality like this, which increases the amount that you gain per stack. The only problem is it's quite good to take early on, and only really if you've gotten a few of the curse triggering skills. We only have the one, and enemies aren't really dying from it too much. It would be okay, but we might be better off with something else, like just upgrading the sickles or the luck procs, for example. Ooh, tough call. We can take it and we can just see how well it does, but I just really don't have many curse effects. I just got the spirits right. They're the only thing doing the curses. But they'll farm a bit of damage for me whenever they hit skeletons and stuff. If they die while cursed, I don't know if that fully counts. I think they actually have to die from the curse. Here we go, we're in trouble now. Here's the blue slimes. Thankfully you don't get boxed in for this one, but they do keep coming at you from the other side. So you have to kind of time your jumps through them like this. I want to see that shrine. Okay, I won't worry about it. It's just potential gear. I'm looking for healing shrines predominantly. Thankfully, they don't have blue health bars, so you can stun them to stop them from attacking you. Ooh, an empower shrine will help. A bit of extra damage. Might be able to kill them. Thankfully, we're getting a lot of procs here. We're actually doing pretty well in the blue slime phase. I was a bit worried. Oh, healing well. Nice. This it's not a direct healing well. It gives you a rejuvenation buff. That also gives you XP over time, actually. It's quite nice. But it will heal us slowly. Pretty slowly for Kron, especially because it's got such a high health pool, and I'm pretty sure it's like a flat amount of healing. It's 0.45 life per second and 0.75 experience per second. They're nice, though, those shrines. I like that. You even want to get them if you're at full health, because you're getting XP as well. We've got more nasty ghost ladies. So the campfires are pretty fun, ready? Like, the enemies going through them will take burning damage, but I also want to like take it for the heal. But you can like leave them there to try and burn enemies, which is a fun little thing you can do. You still get XP from them and everything. Ooh, a big shrine. Oh no. Alright, well I took enemies have reduced stun threshold. I was too busy spam clicking for my attack. There's a blue ring back there. I would like to try and get that, but these ghost ladies are giving me some grief. Ah, no. I'm not very good at dodging these. I need to, like, wait till they start their attack, then dodge. It's a little hard, though. I got my ring. At any point, we can pause and look at our gear and decide if we want to, like, equip it, for example. See if it's good. Oh, relic with faster cooldowns and reroll dice. Yo! Cooldowns is not as good for him because he's not doing a lot of, like, cooldown-based spells. Mostly triggers here. But rerolls are always very good. Hi, Mort. We can upgrade. So here we could get a chance to upgrade soul steals from novice to adept, and that'll increase the amount of crushing blow they do and their duration. And then they're a bit more efficient each level we put into them after that point. There's also raised skeletons there. With if you raise them from a cursed enemy, they last longer. So that's not very good in our build currently, but there's a summon that's available. I would probably banish those. Do we want to upgrade the soul stealers? We did just get that curse scaling. We can see how that's going. So if I take a look at Where is it? Mayhem. So far, I've gotten 5.7%. So that's almost gotten to the point where it's worth it. If you think about some of the other ones, we've had to gain just direct damage, and this is global damage as well. It was about that much, so it's paying off already. If we stay alive any longer, it will definitely be worth. Okay, let's just try and hang in there, eh? Oh, here's the Necromancer. Oh no, I don't think I'm ready. I'm not ready. Okay. The Necromancer teleports around and like slinging out fireballs. And we have to deal with a lot of other enemies at the same time. Ooh. More AoE or longer dashes? Oh, these are all good. I'll get the AoE, let's go. We have a lot of enemies to deal with here. An AoE helps us hit his fireballs without getting hit. If you have really fast attack speed, which I don't, you can knock his fireballs down pretty reliably. I didn't even get a chance. I didn't even lay a finger on him. Yeah, the Necromancer's hard, but we made it to the Necromancer, and you got a bit of a look at the game. It's hard, okay? It's a hard game. I've beaten it once. It is very good, though. I've been thoroughly enjoying it. We can take a look at what did the most damage. Chains of War did the most damage overall, followed by the Shurikens. Like I said, they performed pretty... Oh, no, we got Chilling Strike here. That's our default attack. Actually did the most. It's actually surprising. It's not often the default attack does do the most. But it did just beat out Chains of War a little bit there. The Soul Stealers, even just off one level, performed quite well. Shurikens performed very well there as well. So often quite worth it. Mayhem got to 6.5% in the end. So whenever you die, you keep whatever gear you got. Even if you like, you know, just picked a ring up right at the last second right before you died, you get to keep it. That's good stuff. We did get this faster cooldown reroll dice. That's going to be good for someone. So I got at least one good piece of gear there. These boots are almost good. I could just put this on Kront. He's kind of got fast cooldowns banish. This is fast cooldowns reroll, which might be better for him. And I've got decent relics on most of the others. Scardy's isn't very good, and I actually like building cooldowns on her. Maybe I'll give it to her instead. Yeah, I think I will. She needs it a bit more. Her gear's pretty bad. She's the last character that I unlocked, so... Yeah, very cool. Let me know if you want to see some more. It's a very cool game. I'd be happy to show you some more. Definitely worth keeping an eye out for, dropping a wish list or something like that. I'm not sponsored or anything, I just played the demo and really liked it, and the dev sent me an early key, which is appreciated because I'd really been looking forward to playing it. Anyway, that's it for now, folks. I'm Ziggy D, and thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye now.